Welcome back to Block B, Week 3, where we'll be connecting and expressing identities, how communities may be leveraged to support or repress expressions of personal and cultural identity. And we'll do this by exploring traditional and experimental structures. For poetry, that means working in traditional forms and acquiring the basic skills and tools of meter and rhyme and line breaks. Poetic expression is a process of working within constraints. I often think of the marvelous Serbian-American poet Charles Simic, who said that he defined ars poetica, the art of poetry, as trying to make your jailers laugh. And that's a way of using those very limitations as a form of liberation. And so we'll be looking this week at some of the ways in which the traditional means of writing a poem can be also used to effect a kind of liberation. And in this connection, I often think of the wonderful American poet Marilyn Nelson, who wrote a villanelle called Daughters 1900. It begins like this. 5 daughters in the slant light on the porch are bickering. The eldest has come home with new truths she can hardly wait to teach. She lectures them. The younger daughters search the sky, elbow each other's ribs and groan. 5 daughters in the slant light on the porch, and blue sprigged dresses like a stand of birch, saplings whose leaves are going yellow-brown with new truths. They can hardly wait to teach themselves, to be called ma'am, to march high-heeled across the hanging bridge to town. 5 daughters. In the slant light on the porch, Pomp lowers his paper for a while to watch the beauties he's begotten with his Anne. These new truths they can hardly wait to teach. The eldest sniffs, a lady doesn't scratch. The third snorts back, knock, knock, nobody home. The fourth concedes, well, maybe not in church. 5 daughters in the slant light on the porch. And one of the things that I think we hear in this poem is, which depends so much upon repetition and slight changes in that repetition, is the off rhymes. Notice how Marilyn Nelson rhymes porch, teach, search, birch, teach, porch, watch. They're not true rhymes, but they're close enough to make your ear just begin to tingle a little bit. And what she's really trying to capture in this poem are these new truths, encapsulated first in that the eldest coming home with new truths. We understand that. But in fact, each one of the 5 daughters is a new truth in and of herself.
I always think of structures as that it has everything to do with the characters and the communities that they are in. What stories they're going to tell has everything to do with what stories need to be told at that specific time and place. So we often think of traditional forms as Aristotelian, but of course Aristotelian structure came from Aristotle watching the Greek plays, such as Oedipus, and then deciding what is a perfect structure by watching the actual play.
And once he knew what the perfect structure was, from henceforth, all playwrights would think, well, how can I change that structure to make it work for me?
Yes.
Right?
So from there, we have the 3-act structure or a 5-act structure or the well-made play. And one of the great playwrights of the 20th century, August Wilson, subverted this perfect play form in order to represent African-American migration from the South to the North. And he created a very well-made play for every decade of the 20th century in this way. So there are ways to use the traditional form and subvert it in order to address social issues of social justice, very present tense crises.
Discover new truths.
Yeah.
Onward.